Let's bring in Dan Brouillette, who's a former Energy Secretary. He's going to tell us all about oil prices. Oil prices, let's see, Brent came down to 80, ticked down to 79 and change for a bit. So we have already taken out, look, if the Strait of Hormuz closing took out 20% of the world's oil, okay, if that's the right number. I don't know if it is, but if that's the right number. I think we're approaching, either because ships have been getting through. I mean, they've been sneaking through. President Trump talked about that last week. I call it Trump's secret sauce. There's that. More's coming, right? China has pulled back, so there's a certain amount of demand reduction going on. Saudis have put that east-west pipeline in and jamming as much oil as they possibly can. So I'm just saying, I think we're halfway there, Dan Brouillette. That's what I'm thinking. Of the 20%, we got 10% back. And that's the reason oil prices have come down. What you make of it?
Well, Larry, I think that's largely true. Look, I think the most important thing you just said is that more is coming. And once the strait opens, more will come through that strait, and that's going to bring certainty to this marketplace, which is, of course, going to bring prices down. We've already seen it today in the marketplace. I think oil is, down 5%, is what I saw earlier. It could be down lower for all I know at the moment, but it is coming down pretty quickly. And that's trading simply on headline value. That's not trading on the physical availability of this oil. So I think as the administration moves forward with the execution of this plan, and we reach the end of the week, and the signatures are on the page, and importantly, as General Keane and you just pointed out, there's an enforcement mechanism around this to keep the strait open. You're going to see those prices drop even faster. And I think over the course of the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next 5 weeks, 10 weeks, pick a time frame, that's going to be proven true.
So why is my friend Mike Wirth so pessimistic about oil price? I know his inventories are low. I understand that. You know, one little thing I would say is drill, baby, drill, just to start producing more oil and gasoline. But I mean, it may bounce around, but how much, why, let's start there. Why is he so pessimistic? Mike Wirth's a good guy, he's a smart guy, CEO of Chevron. Why is he so darn pessimistic?
Yeah. Well, Larry, I think Mike is, he's a realist, and I don't know that I would agree that he's a pessimist. You know, Mike's a very optimistic guy when you get to know him, and he thinks long term. Look, in the short term, we do have some issues. You alluded to one, storage capacity, or storage levels, I should say, in the market are somewhat low. And we see that all across the world. So we look at Cushing, Oklahoma, for instance, and we see those tanks are a little bit below where they need to be to have the pressures necessary to get the oil out of them. That's a very practical, almost esoteric thing to think about, but nonetheless, that's the way it is. We have storages that are floating all around the world. We're not quite sure exactly how much is there on any given day, so it's an uncertainty factor that plays into the traders and plays into the pricing of the market. So you could see some short-term bumps in the price of oil. There's also another thing to think about, Larry. This infrastructure was damaged. Some of it has to be rebuilt. That takes time, and that oil is not going to come back to the market as quickly as we would like. But I think, again, as I said just a minute ago, once those ships begin to move through that strait, we're going to start to see these prices drop. And they're going to drop, you know, pretty dramatically and rather quickly. Now, there's one more thing I'll point out, Larry, and I think maybe this is what Mike is alluding to as well, is that, you know, for the short term, there's a bit of a risk premium coming through that strait. As General Keane just talked about, you know, the president has done a great job of destroying their Navy, destroying a lot of their military capability, but they still have some. And unless there's strict enforcement of this opening and a presence of the U.S. Navy to maybe restart this blockade, we have to pay a little bit of a premium. Insurers are going to be reluctant to let those ships come through at the prices that they were coming through 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Yeah, well, I'd leave the blockade on for a while. I just want to make sure Iran does what it says it's going to do. I wouldn't be so fast to get rid of the blockade. I don't want to give them any money whatsoever. But here's the other thing. I'll just have a little fun with you, former Energy Secretary Brouillette.
You always have fun with me, Larry.
We are producing about more or less The latest reading from the Energy Department, the United States, producing 13.6 million barrels per day. Okay, that's a big number. That's a record number. Yeah. Why can't we produce 14 million? Why can't we produce 15 million? We are also exporting more than we ever have before. Oil alone, I think we've gone as high as 5 million barrels a day, maybe even more than that. Why can't we produce more? We have it. The reserves are there. I'd like to see Mike Wirth and all of his friends produce a lot. Maybe the small ones can do it. The independent guys can do it. The frackers can do it. Yeah. We might have to go up back into the Backham Shale. Anyway, you tell me. I want to get to 15 million barrels a day. Go ahead, Dan Brouillette, former Energy Secretary.
We
Get
can.
me to 15.
We can, Larry. There are two primary reasons, that holds the industry back, in my view. There may be others, but I know of two right off the top of my head. The short answer to your question is, can we produce 14? Yes, we can. Can we produce 15? Yes, we probably can. Yeah. I feel pretty confident about that. These guys are good at what they do. There are limiting factors to that, however. It's called infrastructure. It's pipeline capacity. It's moving that product to market. If you're going to pull it out of the ground, you've got to put it someplace, and you've got to be able to get it to the markets in which it would serve. The second part of that is the refining capacity. We need to build more refining capacity here in the United States. We need to build more infrastructure generally.
Well,
I think the administration is focused on that.
Doug Burgum and Chris Wright, and we got all these people.
Lee Zeldin and all the good folks there.
We got them all. I mean, I just think it's rock and roll. They should all watch Landman. They've been finding new oil on Landman. When the thing reopens again this year, they'll have even greater finds. Anyway, Dan Brouillette, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right.